right to it. Leadership Conference, we know it's an arm of the Second Chance Foundation. It's targeted at ensuring that nation building and the future of this country is safe and protected. That is why, the theme for this year is defining leadership in economy, so that our leaders are the ones that make policies, they make decisions, which in turn affects the economy of the country, which in turn affects every other thing that has to do with the country. So, without taking much time, we're going to be going straight to the agenda for today. We're going to be having an opening prayer, and I would like for somebody somebody from the press team to just say a little word of prayer so that we can get this started.
Lord Jesus, those who are still going on their way, we ask, Lord, that you direct their steps, Lord, here on time in Jesus' name. Father, Lord, this program, Lord, will achieve the purpose for which you have been organized for in the name of Jesus. It will reach out, Lord, to every corner of Nigeria and outside the country in the name of Jesus. Amen. It will inspire and it will influence the right decisions in the name of Jesus. Amen. Lord, at the end of the day, you take all the glory. In Jesus Christ's mighty name we pray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you very much. Before we get into the why we are here and taking questions from our distributed media houses, we're going to be introducing ourselves one after the other. I know there are so many because the convener will get the opportunity to enlighten us more as to why we are here. What is the essence of this conference? What is the essence of our meeting right now? And it's going to be laying out key factors or key things we have put in place to make this year's edition the best so far. So I'd like for us to give rapid attention as our convener, Mr. Mark Diaye, takes the microphone. Thank you very much.
Convener. So with that, I want to say welcome to this epoch-making event. All right, we'll just get right into it. All is now set for the 2022 edition of the Future Leadership Conference and Award, now in its 7th edition. This year's edition is titled the African Edition, and it is scheduled to take place on the 28th of October at Oriental Hotel, Victoria Island. The event, which previously featured speakers like Austin Ezago, Toyosi Akerele, Ubon King, Lionel Okore, Abimbola Adebakin, Gorilla Aregogo, Charles Otudo, Ambassador Dr. Ivy Oyimeking, Desma Oyakilome, Professor Joseph Umba, Amina Temitope Ajayi, Onifok Akbanluk, Mazi Sam Ohombua, Grace Ofure, Olamide Adeshina, Dr. Abiola Akinyode Afolabi, and Princess Folashode Oba will be featuring the following seasoned speakers and industry leaders across the globe. Confirmed speakers are Ali Baba, Sola Oyebade, Engineer Parkwins Irabo, Mrs. Abimbola Adebakin, Mr. Gorilla Arigogo, Mr. Johnson Abali, Dr. Lucy Sahe Newman, His Royal Majesty Chief Francis Kelechi Waneri, Pastor Itwa Iwodaro, and Jami Pajor. With over 250 volunteer workforce, the Future Leadership Conference has committed positively to inspiring Nigerian youths for about 7 years, thereby bringing together youth influencers, top leaders, entrepreneurs, academics, clerics, etc. According to statistics, the conference has inspired well over 30,000 young Nigerians since inception in entrepreneurship, leadership, climate change, and civic responsibility. Eyed by the seeming lack of visionary and purposeful leadership in almost all sectors of the economy, which in turn has created a bleak future for tomorrow's leader, the Future Leadership Conference is a project of the Second Chance Foundation designed to nurture and prepare present and future generation of leaders in all facets of human endeavor. Leadership in its simplest form is the act of leading people from a certain point to another. It is a process of influencing vision, drive, and ambition. It also entails helping others to possess a better perspective that they have of themselves. People will be inspired, motivated, and challenged in the face of great leadership. I'm excited about the 7th edition of the Future Leadership Conference, which is very much around the corner. This year, we are redefining leadership and its role on the economy. Africa has been regarded oftentimes as a dark continent of the world, the continent that swallows its own. Africa, most especially Nigeria, has become a land that cannot export goods, but rather export brains and brilliant minds. To put this in perspective, over 33,000 doctors and medical consultants left the shores of Nigeria for greener pasture in 2021. It may interest you to know that it is based on this reason and many more, the Second Chance Care Foundation plans unveiling Pan-African magazine with a major focus on changing the long-age narrative. The Future Leadership Conference is a highly respected organic movement conducting a series of impactful intellectual events that have transformed the minds, hearts, and lives of hundreds of thousands of people, thus propelling them to a level of operation in return, greatly affecting the state and well-being of Nigeria and our nation and our economy. The conference's main objective has always been aimed at stimulating, equipping, and challenging the mind, will, and intellect towards effective leadership. Hence, the choice of very prolific speakers of repute, considered as thought leaders, culture shapers, who are result-oriented in their respective fields of endeavor. As a youth-based organization, we have dedicated this year's conference to motivate Nigerians to actively participate in the democratic process, register for the election, and cast their votes. More than ever in the history of our country, it is critical that people should participate and cast their votes. The new electoral law has brought more credibility to the electoral process by making it more difficult for the electoral process to be manipulated. Beyond signing the act into the law, the people must be aware of the changes in the system. It is the awareness that can increase confidence in the system and inspire them to vote. We will be focusing on voters' education and enlightenment to achieve a good result. We are seeking to collaborate with relevant stakeholders interested in improving and ensuring democracy works in Nigeria. Thank you.
In your statement, of course, you spoke about how we have not been able to do well in terms of exploitation of resources, and why we rather export our brains, over there. I want to just speak briefly to the consequence of this to leadership in the country and the economy as well.
When you respond to the situation, unfortunately, the person died. The young boy, he was 16 years old, he died in the process. And the ugly reality hits me in the face that truly we are suffering from this brain drain, situation where we have hospitals, but we don't have enough doctors to attend to people. Now, what then happens in a situation like this is that Nigerians become the victims, the people become the victims. And until the government see that this is creating a lacuna, a gap that needs to be filled, then they have not come to terms with the situation we are faced with. So this is a very critical situation that needs to be addressed in the nation. How come more and more people, professionals, I'm not just talking of someone without a skill, who is a laid-back guy who just wants to survive. These are people with requisite skill to drive the economy of the nation, but they are not compelled, to leave, because the enabling environment has not been created. And may I remind you also that the primary responsibility of the government is to create an enabling environment for businesses to strive. In the absence of that, what you have is chaos. It cannot work. Anarchy, that is what you have. Thank you.
According to Ralph Waldo Emerson Jr., every institution is a reflection of the man at the top. Why are other economies working? America is working. Everybody wants to go to America. France is working. Everybody wants to go to France. UK is working. Everybody wants to go to UK. But we just have to understand that these economies are working based on the fact that people have paid the price. People have been to the drawing table and have told themselves the truth that we need to put things in place that will make the economy work. And if the economy doesn't work like he said, then there will be crisis, there will be chaos. You can imagine Okonjo-Iweala's son performing the first robotic surgery. He's a Nigerian. Why is that not possible here? It's because an enabling environment has been created for him over there. So we need to tell ourselves the truth. Africa boasts of more than half the world's arable land, but Africa can't feed itself. It's painful. You have a lot of youths out there who are ready to invest in agriculture, but all we get from time to time are sham schemes in the name of giving out loans by government, yet the loan doesn't get to even people who are ready to farm. So something is wrong. I don't think something is wrong with the black man, but something is wrong somewhere that needs to be fixed. It starts from leadership. If we don't get it right, I don't think we will ever emerge successful as a country. Go ahead, sir.
You ended your response by leadership. Thinking of the fact that leadership is what matters.
Yeah.
Against the forthcoming general election, can you, in your own perspective, tell us what should be the key area of focus for us?
Where there is no vision, according to the Bible, the people perish. So we need a visionary leader, we need one with capacity, tenacity. We need a leader with, how do I put it, with ideas. A leader that has seen it all, a leader that is cerebral, a leader that is willing to listen, a leader that is ready to bring other Nigerians to the drawing table. It has to be an inclusive leadership. You cannot sit on your chair, right in your office, and decide on policies or come up with policies. You need to meet the people out there. There has to be town hall meetings. You need to feel the pulse of the people. You don't sit down here and think, oh, Ajegule will need a healthcare center when you've not been to Ajegule to find out from Ajegule people what they really need to do well. There are a lot of dilapidated schools there. They need schools. I'm not saying they don't need health, but all I'm trying to say is that leadership has to be inclusive. It shouldn't be a one-man's decision.
Thank you very much for that response. Very wise.
Business day. So the question I want to ask is, over time, politicians, not just politicians, leaders have set particular example that crime pays, integrity does not pay. I mean, when you follow the source code, when you keep the marshals, you get rewarded. And that has kind of created a frame of mind that any young person in power has that, is always just looking for opportunity to outsmart the system to his own advantage. I've met a few persons when they are discussing and they are, priding in how well they are able to outsmart or how well they were able to cheat their organization also. So how can this conference correct that impression that actually following the right path of leadership, actually, enjoying the pain to see the glory is actually rewarding than just following the shortcut which seems to be the norm to do.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much for that question. Let me begin by letting you know that poverty has been weaponized and has consistently been used by the so-called politicians to manipulate the masses. When a man who is without the moral compass is driven to the edge, to the precipice, where he barely has to survive, he will break the entire laws in the book because he doesn't care whose horse is God's. He doesn't care about what happened because he wants to survive. Have you ever seen a man who is about to drown in the water? One time I experienced it at the 10 mainland bridge. A guy said he was fed up and he threw himself overboard. When he got into the water, the reality hit. He realized that he wasn't prepared. He started grappling. That is when a man gets to the survivor mode. I tell you today that the average Nigerians are barely surviving. Which is why I said that poverty has always been a tool, a weaponized tool used to manipulate the masses. Otherwise, how else do you justify the case of a man, a grown-up, taxable adult, queue up to sabotage his conscience? Because the worst form of poverty is a betrayal of your conscience. It's when you know you're doing something wrong, but you feel you don't have other option, you don't have choice, you have to do it. So, one of the objectives of the Future Leadership Conference is to inspire personal transformation. Because we believe that it's only transform people that can transform the society. Yes, I understand that there is this chase for get it quick. Everything is fast now. We have fast playing, fast food. So everybody wants it fast now, fast and furious. But I tell you, we have to get to the place again where we can let the people know and have that orientation, make people understand that it still pales to be a person of integrity, to have value. It still pales to be someone who can inspire trust in the society. And in as much as we want to believe that everyone is on that race, I tell you there are still few people who have insisted on values, on integrity. And that stems from having the spirit of patriotism. So I put it to you that truly, it's not everyone. Yes, you can look around and see, this guy is getting it. Because a lot of young people, why do more young people want to get involved in this get rich what? Scheme. Why? Because they feel that there's no option, there's no hope. Which is why we are having this conversation. We have to get back to the drawing board. We have to lay the cards on the table and let them know truly there can be an option. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that.
From the outgoing generation. And then we want to take over from the outgoing generation.
The outgoing generation being responsible for the crisis in the system, right? And how we can ensure that that doesn't rub off on the next generation.
The Sorosoke generation.
Sorry?
The Sorosoke generation.
Okay. Yes. I believe that everything stems from our value system. We've not gotten our value systems right. We've had issues or cases where parents these days do not even care where your source of wealth or income is coming from. The government does not also give a damn about, excuse my language, where your source of wealth comes from. Once you have few millions in your account and you can support any party in power, your sins are forgiven, in quotes. According to one of our politicians, once you move to their party, your sins are forgiven. So you can imagine how honesty has been thrown to the dogs. Nobody cares whether you're honest. Nobody cares where your wealth is coming from. It pains me so much that we have organizations that are supposed to be running after people who have stolen our collective wealth, and yet they seem to be toothless. You can't try that in the UK. You can't try that even in China. You can't try that even in Saudi Arabia. China and Africa, or Nigeria, even India, were at some point at the same level of development. But they have left us behind. What did they do? How did they get it right? They killed corruption first. I am not saying there are no elements of corruption or corrupt practices in these countries. So, I want to believe that The youths these days are aware of the criminality in the system. And that is why you can see them rising up from Sokoto to Kano to Bayelsa to Lagos. You can see them rising up saying enough is enough. I believe there is this reality that has dawned on the youth, that if we don't get it right this time, there might be no future for our children and children's children, including ourselves right now. What will be our future if we allow this rot in the system to continue? And I'm sure even the elders, the fading generation that have instituted all this rot in the system, are aware of what is going on, and some of them are being silent. I don't see this. I don't see this eating deep into the next generation. And that is why we want to ensure that we maintain the momentum with what we are doing with the Future Leadership Conference. And that is why we've gone ahead to come up with a media outfit, the Africa Future Magazine, to ensure that we begin to showcase what Africans are doing. Africans are not being celebrated. We are referred as the dark continent. We can't continue with that narrative. I mentioned Okunjobi Okonjo-Iweala's song. That is just one. There are millions of other youths or Africans that are getting it right. The world is celebrating them, but we are not celebrating our own. The government of this country does not even want them to be celebrated. Yet, it's only criminals that are being celebrated. Are you with me, sir?
I'm with you, sir.
Only criminals are being celebrated here. And so we want to begin to showcase, want to begin to project as a way of supporting what we are doing at the conference. We want to go the extra mile to begin to project what we are doing, how we can get it right, and where Africa is headed right now. We want to change the narrative. And that is the only way I think, one of the ways I think we can get to educate and sensitize the next generation not to continue with the rot and the cankerworm that has dealt with the outgoing generation, which is affecting us now. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Prisoners reformation, rehabilitation. So, Future Leadership Conference is actually the preventive arm of the Second Chance Care Foundation. We love to call it a two-street objective or vision. We believe that with the conference, with the testimonies and feedback that we get, that when a young person who is clueless about life, without inspiration, comes in contact with what we do on this platform, that they will receive the needed inspiration to navigate through life vicissitude. It is going to be difficult for you to be exposed to the quality of speakers that we heard on this platform and all the other very inspiring activities, and still go back and think of suicide thoughts, thinking of going with the wrong gang and just being negative. But what about those who've been caught in the web? Somehow they made some very negative, or they took negative steps, wrong decision, and they are now in incarceration. They are now locked behind the walls. So what we do in that place, in the prison, is to reform them so that when they come out, they can become better citizens. So the Future Leadership Conference is an expression, the preventive arm, like I said, of the Second Chance Care Foundation. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much for your question.
Towards fostering this conversation. What is this conversation? That truly, Nigeria will have the capacity to elect from among us the best. What we had going on previously is that we have the worst among us leaders. So you're then tempted to think that maybe perhaps we are all just like it, because your presidents, your leaders, supposedly are the reflection of the followers And I've refused to accept that because I know I'm not like my president.
Of course.
I don't think like my president. So for goodness sake, there has to be the hunger, the crave to elect the very best among us to govern. Because at the end of the day, referencing John Maxwell's quote, he said everything rises and falls on what? On leadership. In 2015, Nigeria recorded an all-time voters' apathy. What was the reason? Because Nigerian youth didn't believe that their vote could count. So what's the whole essence of queuing up to collect the PVC and going through all the rigors? Then at the end of the day, my vote will be manipulated. But things have changed now, or things are changing, because I tell you, with what we are seeing around, with the crowd and people, both the old, the young, wanting to be involved in the process, shows you that truly the narrative, there's a change, there's a transformation, there's a renaissance. Things are changing. All right? More people want to get involved in the process. There is hope now. Prior to this time, we didn't believe it could count. Nigerians didn't believe the vote could count. But for now, at this time, we believe that it will count. Why? With the new electoral bill that has been signed, making it a bit difficult for election to be manipulated. So there is trust in the system that is going to work this time. Thank you. Which is the next one? I believe I actually answered about 2-3 questions. Yes.
Just to start my own question, how
Yes.
can participate the target audience? How can they come aboard the conference? We just go to rental hotel and see, or
No. We have all right, if you look behind me, you're going to see the link for registration, even though it is totally free. Registration is what? Compulsory. So you have to go to the website www.futureleadershipconference.com and reserve a seat. Because as we speak, it will interest you. Just yesterday evening, we finally unveiled the last speakers. All right? Prior to that time, prior to the time that we unveiled, we have had way over 970 people that have registered. I'm trying to paint a picture. People didn't know who the speakers were, but yet they were rushing in droves to register for the conference. So we finally did the last unveiling yesterday. And I can tell you, if you're listening to this and you haven't reserved your seat and you think that this is one of the conferences you just throw in and you get a seat, it's not going to work. You will have to reserve a seat. Thank you.
In fact, you asked a question.
You don't have, you can't give. For us to choose a credible leader, we must first see a leader in ourselves. You must be able to lead yourself right, to choose right, to pick right, to vote right. And one of the focus of the Future Leadership Conference is to educate, motivate, and inspire, especially the young ones, to be committed to personal transformation, to be committed to personally developing themselves. Because the truth is that what you don't know is more than you, is bigger than you. And that is why knowledge is key. You see, knowledge is the new gold now. When you don't know something, you cannot scale that thing when you don't know. When you don't know that, okay, I need to choose a leader that has value, I need to choose a leader that has some core values, I need to choose a leader that can give me the platform, to have my say, to do all whatnot, then you will still go back to the drawing board. So why this leadership conference, and if you are listening to this, you've not registered, just like my boss said, you need to quickly go register, because I'm telling you, it's going to be massive. You've not seen this type before, it's going to be phenomenal. Our set of speakers, they are ready to really educate us on what we really need to know, especially this 2023 election. Thank you.
Thank
In
you
fact,
very
I
much.
just want to add that it is aimed at also equipping future leaders for the task ahead. It is aimed at equipping. So the totality of all that we are doing is to equip.
Thank you very much for your questions and remarks.
A lot of people might be wondering why their awards was spoken so passionately about the conference. But why the awards? The awards are coming in because there are people who have distinguished themselves in various endeavors. And if the current leadership in quotes is not celebrating or recognizing people who have genuinely made impact in the society, whether in economy or any other sphere of life, we've taken it upon ourselves to start projecting and recognizing these people. Like my colleague mentioned, you can't give what you don't have. If you have a primary school holder who is leading an organization or a company, and then now comes up with policies for a blue chip company with a clear-cut direction and goals, and then deciding for the company to employ first-class owners, what is he going to be dishing out on the direction of the company? So the award seeks and attempts to give honor to whom honor is due. By recognizing them, we will spur them and encourage them to do more. And then the future leaders, the younger generation, can also see these persons and even approach them as mentors. What we've not also told you is that most of these people we are recognizing also mentor or provide mentorship in the Leadership Academy to most of the persons that are being trained by our academy. So the award, like I've mentioned, we believe with this, we can. In fact, it will amaze you to know that we currently have about 284, right? Nominees as such yesterday, but we're not giving more than 30 awards. So it's not an all-comers affair, and it is not that we are doing it to make money. No. If not, then we can give to the entire 280 something. I don't know if that has satisfied. Are you satisfied with the response?
Just to add to what he said, for the award aspect, now primarily our focus is allowing these young individuals who've been doing remarkably well in their field to know that doing good can also be rewarded, and that doing good far outweighs doing good. You know, currently we live in a society where basically everybody portrays their level of wealth and a number of things they've done, which obviously it's not inspiring. You see, I think that tends to allow the younger people look up to those kind of generation or those aspects of the category. But now the aim of the award is portraying and letting these people who have been doing phenomenally well, letting them know that their efforts is well recognized. And we're going the extra mile to not just only to recognize them, but also to celebrate their well doing. So that's actually what the Future Leadership Award is about. So it's not just them receiving a plaque, it's also celebrating their work done. And beyond the category of those who will be celebrated from the listed or the selected 284, a congratulatory note will also be sent to all the nominees. Because before somebody can be able to nominate you for an award, obviously they believe where you and they believe in exactly what you've been doing. So the fact that you're not selected, because obviously we have a number we're targeting, doesn't mean you're not doing well, or doesn't mean your work was not recognized. It simply means some persons obviously are doing much more. So, and the hierarchy of selection, you go for what seems to be the best. So that doesn't mean others are neglected or others are not doing well. Of course, in this present day generation or in this present day society, anybody who's doing anything well doing or worth doing should be encouraged. And should be given a bigger or a more platform to everyone. So that's what the Future Leadership Award segment entails, basically. And also to say, the award aspect is not together with the conference. The conference starts from 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. Now the conference is basically inspiring all the attendees and everybody will be expecting, letting them know how they can plan for their life and for their future. The later part of the evening of the day, it's the award segment. Now that is actually what we tend to do in celebrating. So we don't want to have a clash event. We actually want to have time to recognize those people and to celebrate their efforts. So that's why we really match the award with the conference. So those people can be well portrayed and they can be even be recognized by people who, be noticed rather by people who will be present. And also from there we can encourage them to do much more.
Thank you very much. I think we have a follow-up question from her, which will be the last question for the day.
Okay, so I want to know the criteria for selection of people that will be awarded. And I think you said something about them being part of the leadership, future leadership conference. I don't know if I got that right. Then what sector do those people play? And are they being awarded for their leadership roles, just generally? I want to know the...
Okay, sorry, before he answers your question, you have
Who this person is, the number of persons this particular individual has been able to impact is kind of rich. What exactly this person has done. So that all will be encapsulated in the citation. So from the citation, I mean, it's you telling us this is your work. And obviously, it's going to be vetted. So it's not just you telling us, I've done this, I've done the other one. We'll go the extra mile to actually verify these details you've given us to ensure that this person actually wants to be awarded. So I think, I don't know if I answered the selection.
And in fact, let me add that we don't do the nominations ourselves.
No.
The public do the nomination.
Yes.
So there is no room for us to nominate any awardee or select any awardee based on personal interest or preference. It's allowed to the public to do that, to enable us get it right.
So what are they being awarded for?
They are being
Yeah, there are
awarded
different
for the
categories.
respective, there are categories like you said.
Categories for the
How
award.
many categories?
We have the personal category and we have the corporate category. In other words, as an individual, sorry. In other words, as an individual, personally, you can be awarded for your works, for your well-doing. And also, as a platform or as a corporate board, as an organization, you can also be awarded for your work done. And under the individual nomination, there are different categories. I can quickly go through. We have the Leadership Award of the Year. We have the CEO of the Year. We have the Business Leader of the Year. Now, these are personal categories. We have the Outstanding Entrepreneur of the Year. We have the Role Model of the Year. We have Public Speaker of the Year. We have Humanitarian of the Year, that's carrying out good service. We have Innovative Educator of the Year. We also have Outstanding Coach of the Year. We have Creator of the Year, Young Business Leader of the Year, Entrepreneur of the Year, Young Entrepreneur of the Year, and also Inspiring Personality of the Year. This falls under the personal category. Now coming to the corporate, that's the organization category, we have Company of the Year, we have Consumer Brand of the Year, we have Impactful NGO of the Year, we have Startup of the Year, we have Media or Newspaper of the Year. So, gentlemen of the press, if you feel your media house has done remarkably well in reaching out, doing anything inspiring, of course, Whiting nomination has closed.
Yes.
That came a bit late. Well, you can look forward to the upcoming or next year edition.
Thank you very much.
Just to add, we have the Healthcare Excellence of the Year, we have the Real Estate of the Year, Tech Startup of the Year, Human Capital Development Company of the Year. So that's subject of.
Thank you very much for your.
I want to say thank you for coming, but there's something I would like to just, it was missing in the course of the speech, and I don't think we hinted on it. We are very excited this year to have a strategic partnership with a very foremost and reputable university, Mass Leadership University. Yes, it's worth it. So in essence, there's going to be a special masterclass session in the course of the conference. Now this is exciting for me because a participant will have opportunity to be issued a certificate. So imagine attending a conference. Yes, clap. Okay, imagine attending a conference, then at the end of the conference, you're given a certificate, this is not me trying to undermine any institution, but from a reputable university, leadership university. All right, then that can add color and panache to your certificate and your career. Okay, so I just thought I should give that. Then before I round up, I would like to mention that we do have sponsors, we have strategic partners. I will not fail to mention Sanenden Properties Limited, who have come in on board to make sure that this event is successful this year. Can we just appreciate that? Yeah. And we also do have media partners. And also, if you think that you want, do we still have a chance? Can we still take in more sponsors and partners? Yes. All right. So please, we are very ready to accommodate more partners. And if you feel that you have done incredibly well, part of the opportunity that you have to also showcase your brand is to enlist to be featured and profiled in our award. Oh yes, thank you very much. I've just been reminded as well that we have Lagos Ride on board. Lag ride. Let's appreciate it. All right, so it means that transportation is going to be easy. In other words, if you are moving from one part of Lagos to another, there's a promo code that will be generated exclusively for this conference. So you can enjoy. Have you seen those rides? They are beautiful. They are lovely and very comfortable. So you can enjoy yourself, have the AC, do some things to your brain before you get there and take you back to your home. So we appreciate Lag Ride for coming in on board and other media partners whose name, there are quite many, but we'll have them featured and mentioned in the course of the conference. So thank you so very much for coming. We appreciate you. God bless you.